Good evening, Chip here with Hybrid and Electric Car Sales, coming to you from my shop this evening. Got my latest project here, which is Ford Fusion Hybrid for the HF35 transmission repair. This one drove in from Kentucky, as you can see on the plate. This is a 2018 model with approximately 128,000 miles on it. Customer already went through all the regular things, replacing the brake rotors, replacing the axles, replacing the bearings and everything. As you can see, everything's like brand new on this car. We've just started taking it apart. Now, this one does not have the normal stator bearing failure. This one has the grinding noise on regen. And what that is the failing of the bearings on the transfer gear. And this is what the cup looks like. This is from another transmission that we did. You see all that pitting there on that bearing race, and I assure you the bearing looks even worse. But that is the grinding noise that you're hearing when you're coming to a stop. Now, we'll pull this transmission out. We're going to replace all the bearings on the stator side, the EV side, and the drive side. But this is what we're going to find inside, and we'll share that with you as soon as we get the transmission out. We're about to drop the subframe out from the bottom, so shouldn't be too long. We'll document it along the way, so stay with us. All right, well, we just got this axle out, and I want to share with you. Something didn't look right here when I set this on the floor, and this client had replaced their axle before, but they did not replace the carrier strap. So hot tip, anytime you're replacing this axle, you have to replace that carrier strap, or you get this, which is this bearing walk inside of there, and that bearing is not secure. So I'm sure this was, now I know this car drove 150 miles in nice and smooth, but this was definitely moving around in there. So we're gonna have to replace this bearing strap to secure that bearing back in there. Because what that does is that allows that axle to move around, and it can actually damage the inside of the transmission if that's not secured. So it's the only thing we found so far that looks out of whack, but we keep those in stock. All right, stay with us. All right, got the transmission out of our Kentucky car. So let me show you what failed with this one. This was not the transfer gear. This one was actually the differential bearing. Let me zoom in there. There we go. You see how chewed up that bearing is? That is the grinding noise you hear on the deceleration. That bearing's bad. And then here's the cup, as you can see there. I wish I could zoom in a little bit better, but there it is. See that? That's what you hear. So usually it is this cup and this bearing that fails. That is your transfer gear right there. And it usually fails on the inside here on the case. But as you can see, it's just a little burned up. Here's where the differential sits. That one's okay. We're gonna replace all of this though. We don't go this far and not replace it, but that was the noise the client was hearing right there on that bearing race and this outer bearing here. But we'll press new ones on. We'll get this all back together. I'll show you what the EV side looks like once we get it all taken apart. Okay, transmission is open on the EV side. Let's check out the stator bearing. It's not too bad. I can feel a little bit of grit in there. Definitely on its way out, but it had to have been replaced eventually. But this is a good time to do it. So definite prognosis was, this was definitely our failure part. The diff bearing. That's where your CV axle goes into, and most likely that was leaking too, which I believe we saw out the axle seal, because there gets so much play in that bearing, the axle can move around in the seal, and that creates the leak. So, all right, we'll get it all back together, button back up, and we'll check back in once it's running and driving. All right, got the car out of the shop. Starting up our Kentucky blue car. And there we go. So, running great, no lights on. I've already taken it for a couple mile test drives, so everything's good on this car, but no more noise on the regen. This car's running great. You see that on the odometer, 128,000 miles on it. But we'll be giving him a call, come pick up his car. But all done here, ready to go. So if you want a similar repair done, give us a call, 615-802-5550, or check us out online at hybridandelectriccarsales.com. There you go. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.